I think when you talk of heritage value, and in this case a building which is often has a very important role in nostalgia and society, local community, a lot of people have very fond memories of the place. I think that's where the boundaries start to get a little bit blurred, and where it's difficult to take objective decisions.
There are many theatres that have been preserved from similar eras, so would you like to see the cinema be used to that kind of alternative rather than be demolished?
Well, I know a lot of studies have gone into the backgrounds to the cinema, how it can be converted into a theatre. I mean, there's been a number of schemes that have been announced in the public domain, and they've all come back with the same conclusion to our knowledge, that the site is just not big enough to accommodate a theatre of the size that we want and need in Gibraltar, with all the associated backstage space, set building facilities, loading and unloading facilities that is required.
The building has been called iconic, a piece of our heritage, a piece of our history, so it's obviously really important to the community, at least culturally. So doesn't that cultural value translate into heritage value somehow?
I think, yes, I think that's how heritage sort of like develops. I think the concept of heritage is something can be very personal to people, and it also develops over time as people, the distance between time and memory, make things change. It's a very fluent way, I think, of looking at the past. Can't forget that on the site before the Queen Cinema you had the assembly rooms. That was an area for entertainment and leisure. The cinema has also been an area for entertainment and leisure, and we'd hope that eventual use of this site would have an element of entertainment and leisure for the local community, and continue that tradition of use of space in the area.
So you mentioned that you've actually gone to the cinema to salvage certain parts of it. So what exactly did you salvage, and why did they make the cut?
Well, as part of any planning condition, projects, even though this is a government project, so it doesn't need permission, it needs guidance from the Development Planning Commission, but we still put conditions on it as we would any other development. And there was a condition of salvage on items which may be of historic interest and value. So things like the crown, the Queen Cinema, writing, the signage, and there's a few other bits and pieces from within.
I suppose when it comes to preserving heritage building, there is an idea that does it have to be really old for it to be worth preserving? Queen Cinema just kind of makes it past the 50-year mark, so does that limit its value in terms of preservation?
I think this is where it's important to have debates ahead of final decisions being made, and to understand all the different views of different stakeholders and people that have an affinity with places.
If this building was being turned into something else rather than demolished, would there be any worth in keeping anything about it at all?
I think in an ideal world we'd probably look at trying to keep the facade, but I think where we are today and time that has passed, I think the building has gone past its useful life, and it's time to move on.
And what is the reason for wanting to keep the facade? Is it cultural? Is it heritage?
Well, like I said earlier, I think it has a certain vintage value to it. The look, there's nothing else like it in Gibraltar. So it's purely on that basis rather than pure heritage principled basis.